So let's begin. Hello all, welcome to today's webinar on reference data usage management and how to benefit from enhanced transparency, control and governance. I want to start off with apologizing for my voice, having a bad cold, but I hope you can all still hear me well enough. We almost have 100 attendees today, so some house rules. Everyone is muted and webcams of attendees are turned off. In this webinar, we will kick off with a quick welcome of our participants, followed by an introduction of typical industry challenges when it comes to managing reference data and its usage. Next is the most exciting part of this webinar, I would say, and probably the main reason you all registered, a real use case by Ilmarinen. After that use case, we will hand over again to Amjad to recap the added value of Xmon. And this webinar will be closed with an interactive Q&A session. You can put all your questions in the chat during or after the presentations, and I will make sure to address them at the end. So today we have with us Amjad from Xpansion and Sami from Ilmarinen. My name is Roel Mels. I am based out of Amsterdam, the Netherlands that is, and I will be moderating this webinar. Here at TRD Screen, I am responsible for the global marketing. As some of you already may know, TRD Screen is a software provider of enterprise subscription management solutions. And we enable our clients all over the world to monitor and manage both subscription spend and usage across the entire enterprise. For our reference data usage management solution, we have a strategic partnership with Xpansion in place. And no coincidence, that is what today's webinar is all about, reference data usage management. So to make sure we don't lose any valuable time, I will now hand over to Amjad to kick off. Over to you, Amjad.
Roel, thank you very much for this introduction, and thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Amjad. I am one of the founders and also director at Xpansion. At Xpansion, we are a software company, we're a technology company. We build software solutions to help teams responsible for the data management provide access to data at scale in a cost-effective way. We're based in the UK, but we work with financial services clients globally, both on the buy side and on the sell side. In our suite of products, we have several products. Xmon is one of them, and Xmon is the focus of our webinar today. Xmon, in particular, helps organizations just like yours establish usage transparency and optimize costs for reference data. There are, of course, many reference data vendors out there, and over time, many years, the landscape for reference data has become more and more complex from a cost and a compliance standpoint. Organizations today face many challenges in reference data management. And on this slide, we've tried to simplify this. So on one hand, on the right-hand side, you'll see the consumers. These are the applications, the systems, the users that connect to data vendors on the left-hand side of the slide. So you might have one vendor, you might have more than one account with the same vendor as well. This comes with challenges around transparency. We don't know who's consuming what from where. Yes, we get the invoices at the end of the month, but in the meantime, it's very hard and very difficult to know who's asking for what data point. Because we have very limited transparency, we also have very limited control. We can't entitle access to reference data. We can't block expensive requests from coming in. When the invoices do come in at the end of the month, how do we know that the numbers in those invoices actually match what we expect? How can we independently validate those numbers? As I mentioned, the environments themselves are complex. There's multiple consumers, there's multiple environments, multiple vendors, and keeping track of all of this is not easy. Some organizations might want to allocate spend internally in a fair way, in a way that's based on the actual usage of data, and without the right tools in place, this is also very challenging. I'm going to come back at the end of this talk just to give you the view on how we address them. But in the meantime, I'm going to hand over to Sami, who is one of our great clients and also a user of Xmon for many years, to give you some practical views of what they've achieved with us and Xmon.
Thanks, Amjad. Just a few words about me and the company before getting into the case itself. So my name is Sami Kekäläinen. I work as a system manager at Ilmarinen. My responsibility is to keep our portfolio managers and front office users happy. I'm responsible of several systems, including portfolio management systems, trading platforms, Bloomberg terminals, and so on. Ilmarinen as a company is the oldest and largest private pension fund in Finland. And at the moment, we manage roughly 60 billion euros portfolio, providing insurance and pensions for 1.2 million clients in Finland, which is roughly the 1/5 to about 20% of the Finnish population. This year so far has been quite good. We have made during the first 3 quarters we've made above 10% returns, which means in euros 5.6 billion euros. We have truly a multi-asset portfolio. We have investments in all the possible asset classes, and what makes us different from other pension funds, I would say that is that we have internal hedge fund, which is heavily relying on data and yeah. So this picture gives a rough understanding of the assets, and I would say that the fixed income part and equity part are the ones that are relying or screaming for market data on daily basis. So because they are listed investments. And this is just to provide you an understanding of the context where we operate. So before Xmon, we didn't have any visibility on the data usage during the month or even after the month. So it made our budgeting impossible, and we were literally hoping for the best, waiting for the next month bill coming, and wishing that there wasn't any nasty surprises. We didn't have any possibilities or tools to block unwanted expensive data requests, like in Bloomberg's case, historical data is really expensive. We didn't have any tools or any possibilities to block them or control them before Xmon. As mentioned, we didn't have any transparency of the usage, and which made it even more difficult. We have obviously many systems connected to data vendors, and we have also many environments, like development environments for these systems, and we didn't have any idea whether expensive requests may have been sent earlier. And as you all may know, Bloomberg data model is really difficult to understand, and you never know how much your cost will increase if you add 1 or 2 additional data points. So how we ended up to work with Xpansion and especially with Xmon was that we had a couple of projects. We knew the team. We knew that they are really good at understanding the complex instruments, and we knew that they knew also the requirements for data for complex derivatives, for example. So it was quite easy to rely and build trust on the team. And once we started talking about the Xmon itself, we couldn't find any other product having these same capabilities at that time. And then we went further, having a couple of demos and so on. We made our due diligences and so on. We ended up doing the agreement. We actually provided a couple of feedback during the demos, and the team was capable of adding these in the product really quickly, and it even obviously increased our trust on the product and the team. Personally, I don't like a term plug and play, but in this case, the implementation or deployment was really seamless. It's after the firewalls and technical stuff was tackled, the deployment took only a few hours, literally. It was really easy, and we were up and running in half a day or so. And of course, money is always important thing, and like any product, we always want to make business case, so it makes sense to have a investment, and in this case we saw the possibilities that it can be bring in more savings than what was the subscription cost. So after 3 or actually a bit more years at the moment, we have gained many things running the Xmon. It has been really stable. We haven't had any issues, and we haven't seen any unwanted request going through the Xmon accidentally. It has really worked as promised. It has provided the transparency for the usage. We know at the moment what environment is requesting and what. So we have been able to caught some unwanted requests from development environments. They are huge savings, because that's many cases it is pure waste of money if you are requesting too expensive data sets to development environments. We have been able to optimize our spendings by help of Xmon team. First thing that we tackled was the end of day price request that I believe it was at that time it was for roughly to 20,000 instruments, and we were able to pinpoint that some 15% of those were already expired or unlisted instruments, and by cutting them off from the request, we were able to make a quick win and reduce the cost significantly right after implementation. We have also created several rules for different environments, like monetary rules, so we can set the limit that everything all the requests going over X amount are blocked, or they require a manual approval, but the main point is that we can block them, and we can really control what goes to data vendor, and by that we obviously avoiding the cost. And in addition, the help of expansion team, we have made a simulation that we have switched our current pricing model, so-called per security model, to scheduled model, which is a bit different pricing model in Bloomberg, and it is really, at that time they really tried to push it for us for some reasons. They say that we would save money, but with this simulation, we were able to say back to them that it wasn't the truth. And after that, they haven't pushed it further for us. And further on benefits, we really have a much better governance with our data consumption. We are able to reconcile and reconcile the invoices and be sure that the invoices sent to us, they are accurate, and which wasn't the case previously. And we have possibility to see how the cost varies over the months, if any. Nowadays, the cost is quite stable, but we have that possibility at the moment. It's a quite nice dashboard where this can be seen directly. And we have an ongoing project at the moment. We are implementing enterprise data management system that is aiming to collect all the data sets from vendors and from our portfolio management systems into one centralized point. And during this project, we have also found out that Xmon has been really good to have in place to avoid unwanted requests, but also to simulate what would cost, what this type of request would cost, or should we use some other Bloomberg mnemonics or so. So far, money-wise, we have been able to reduce costs around 10%, and by having the understanding and visibility, we know that there are still some room to make additional savings by reducing some high-cost categories, and this is all pinpointed by Xmon. But money at the beginning, money wasn't our main driver for this exercise, and it still not is. But at the moment, it is really good to feel that we are controlling the data usage, and we are not getting any nasty surprises coming next month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sami. I think it was very helpful for many of our attendees, which may face similar challenges. So Amjad, I hear you want to jump in again. So before going to the Q&A session, I'm sure there will be questions. I will let you finish off with a quick recap of Xmon. Over to you.
Thank you, Roel. Thank you so much, Sami, for this practical view of how you're using the product. I'm going to use just 1 more minute finishing up on this slide. So as we've seen, Xmon introduces a layer of control and governance and transparency of reference data usage. With Xmon, we can track every request made in real time and track its costs, its contents. Because we do this in real time, we're able to control, generate alerts, and entitle access to that data. Processes are much more industrialized, standardized, and streamlined. We can reconcile invoices systematically, create reports, and make them accessible throughout the organization in a way that is very standardized, timely, and on demand. Really, just to say in a nutshell, with a product like Xmon, or with Xmon, we will be able to help you monitor usage in real time, optimize your spend, make sure that you're making the most of the commercial models available out there to you, and then build an operational framework around reference data usage and spend. That's it. Roel, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Amjad, for that, and thanks, Sami, for your great overview of reference data usage management, both from a vendor perspective as well as a client perspective. I would now like to open the Q&A session to our attendees. Again, you can ask your question in the chat, and I will make sure to address it. So over to you guys. during the presentation, I already received 2 questions, so let me ask those. I think this one is first for you, Amjad. How does the implementation of Xmon look like? How long does it typically take? Does it require a lot of IT input from client side? Anything else we need to take into account here? So maybe Sami can also add some input on that one, but I'll let you answer that first, Amjad.
Sure, that's a great question. Thank you. So Xmon is a fully managed service. There is nothing to install on site from an IT hardware or infrastructure point of view. It is fully managed. The implementation of Xmon is actually really quick. There are different ways to integrate the product. Most of them are a reconfiguration of the applications, and that's it. The formats of the requests are the same. There is nothing to install on site, so most of our implementations can be done really, really quickly. In some clients, it can take hours, like in the case of Sami's and Ilmarinen, and Sami will pitch in on that. But then depending on how many applications, how many systems, and how many accounts and how many vendors we're tracking, this can be phased out and rolled out. But the requirements themselves are very, very simple. Sami, would you like to add to that?
Anything to add, Sami, there?
Yeah, well, one really important thing I would like to raise here is that at least in our case, the implementation didn't require any configuration for the portfolio management systems that are requesting the data. So it was just changing the IP address, and that's it. So that was really important for us, because it might be tricky to reconfigure a system like a portfolio management system.
Thank you. That sounds great.
Thank you.
Another question I just got in. I see the added value of a tool like Xmon. I, however, don't have the resources available to manage it. In this case, do you also offer some sort of managed services for your product? I guess this is one for you, Amjad.
Indeed, yes, absolutely. So we provide a fully managed service as well, of course, and this means that once the product is on board, and we will guide you through the onboarding process, we will help you understand the value of the product, and then we will take over the management of the system itself. So we will generate the reports for the clients. We will help you understand optimization options, possibilities, create management reports, create compliance and audit reports. All of these things fall into our managed service functionality. So for those clients that wish to have that, it is definitely available as a fully managed packaged service. And this means that on a monthly basis, we will analyze usage, reconcile the invoices, and provide insights into usage, allocations, cost optimizations, recommendations across the board. Definitely.
Okay, that's great. Looking at my chat box, I don't have any additional questions. So also being cautious of time, I will now close this webinar. If one of you have a question later on, or looking for a customized demo on Xmon or anything else we can help you with, please make sure to reach out. You will all receive the recording of this webinar to watch back in your inbox shortly. So that leaves me to thank you, Sami. Very much appreciated you having being on this webinar. And thank you, Amjad. Bye for now. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.